Hi guys, today I'm back with the first summary of the Manhwa Mr. Villain Husband, the one you should be obsessed with is that person. But this time is in English. One of the girls requested it, and yet I know it might seem a little strange, but honestly, I was waiting for someone to ask so I could finally do a video in English. So, without talking too much, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment to support me. That is it, let's get started. The Atrelos Emperor bears many offspring and places the strongest one on the throne. That statement means that the one who survived by killing other becomes the emperor. Among the emperor's children, the youngest inherits the throne. At the blood succession ceremony, at the age of just 13, he killed all his older siblings and sisters to become the crown prince. The crown prince, with the severed locks of his siblings, had braids together, dragged them all before the former emperor, and presented them with a sword. The cunning emperor, embraced by the strength of the youngest prince, felt a sense of admiration and with a great joy attempted to praise and elevate him. At that moment, a dagger with a sharp blade flew and stabbed into the emperor's sheath. In front of the emperor, who was coughing out blood, the young prince smiled intently and said to the emperor, "I was getting bored waiting, so I wanted to ascend to the throne now. Having someone above me is so annoying." He's none other than the current emperor of Atrelos, known as Atrelos Lanius, and someone took, would you two seek the protection of Elra deity to form an eternal martial bond? And now I find myself sold as a bride to the ruthless emperor of the Dotoria Empire. And now we can see here, our heroine of the story. She thinks and says, he demands an immediate answer, staring at me like he wants to say, "Speak now." He's so scary. She answer and say yes. The emperor talk and say, "Well, shall we continue until I get tired of it?" The monk replied immediately, "Well, then exchange rings, snap out of it." She thinks and she was too nervous. Don't drop it, don't drop it. The moment it falls, I can't guarantee that my sanity and limbs will still be intact even 5 minutes later. She put the ring on him while her hand was shaken, and the monk say, "Well, then now kiss of the oath." She thinks, "Oh, I can't, it seems like it's really going to happen." She waits, and think, why isn't it coming? Are you just trying to make fun of me? What happened? She looked at him while thinking, "Oh, are you trying to skip over it or what? To skip over it or what?" But she finds that he's already staring at her and saying, seriously, how can this happen?" He smiled and say, "Thank goodness." She think nervously, "Well, what is it?" He bring her closer and she think, "I don't know how things end up like that." He say, "If you had opened your eyes just 5 seconds later, I would have been extremely bored." He bring her closer and kiss her while she tell us her story. It's hard to believe, but right now this place is like a novel, and I once again found myself reincarnated on the path of a doomed wedding procession with the lunatic villain, the tyrant emperor. Flowers bloom even in the abyss. Here, the flower terms refer to its synapse, the novel's protagonist, the virtuous maiden Seraphina, and the abyss in turn represents the malevolent Atrelos emperor, the happy of conquest-loving Emperor Lanus of the weak Atrelos emperor. As usual, there were no expectation to his passing for land grabbing when suddenly he encounters the maiden Seraphina in the temple. The emperor, with a gentle and beautiful gaze, sees his blood-stained reflection in the eyes of the pure maiden, and his he experienced a beautiful aversion towards Seraphina. As a result, he kidnaps her from the temple and brings her to the empire, with the intention of corrubating her just like himself. Instead of becoming tainted, she not only remained pure, but also shone even more beautifully. Meanwhile, the emperor's obsession deepened more and more. He even cooperates and kills Eden, the first love and holy knights of the protagonist. Unable to endure that, Seraphina loses control and goes on a rampage. The emperor is thus ensnared in such a fate. Up to this point concludes the prologue of flowers bloom even in the abyss, although various character appears in the novel. I found myself reincarnated as the empress, the character with the least presence among them. Why is her presence so lacking? Well, in society where one can only have one wife, and divorce is impossible in that Atreus empire, remarriage is only possible through separation. Hence, after the emperor kidnaps the maiden and returns, the first thing he does is cut off the empress' neck. So I'm so lucky for that. So without even having her name mentioned, the empress whose neck is severed right at the beginning of the novel, she died. And that's me. Author, am I being punched like this because I left such a terrible review? It's not a romance novel. Why it's being sold in the romance novel section? I have read a lot of transmigration novels, but usually don't protagonist transmigrates into villains, right? By avoiding the misdeeds committed by the original villains, they subvert the original work. جدعان بجد انا بعاني ان انا بلخص لكم بالانجلش. انا مش انا ماليش دعوه بالانجلش في حاجه. انا مدارس لغات على فكره، انا مدارس تجريبي اصلا، استحملوني بقى يا اجانب. عامه لو في اجانب هيسمعوا اصلا فاستحملوا بقى. اعذروني طبعا انا بتكلم في العربي انتوا مش هتفهموني بقى sorry. Let's complete work, right? But I transmigrated into a rather unremarkable extra character, not particular villains. I wished I had transmigrated into a villainess instead. At least then I could try turning in the original deeds around as a strategic move. In a station like this, what should I do? If I transmigrated before marriage, I probably would have done everything to avoiding getting married in the first place. Maybe stage a fake this by dropping a mannequin of a calf. ان هي توقع حاجة يعني من فوق الجبل. ترجموها توقع يعني العربية اللي بيركبوها دي من فوق الجبل، تلقي بالسيارة التي تسير بهم من فوق الجبل. Wait, a carriage? Who is inside? Taming the imparables you say اللي يعني تسيطر عليه. انا ازاي بعمل معاكم كده؟ هاخد بريك. Sorry, let's complete. Taming the emperor, you say? She means like take control of him. Did I choose to go crazy or something? You can easily imagine how the fearsome some emperor would react to someone trying to tame his reckless. Maybe if I had 9 lives, but in this station, absolutely not. I don't want to die quietly either. There's only one option left. Let's live as if we are really dead, but not quite. They say Lanius never went to see the empress after the wedding. The original empress has questionally raised objection to that part before, but because the original empress frequently appeared here extends in such a way, Lannis eliminated her immediately upon bringing the maiden. I won't engage in actions that I'm unaware of regretting such themes. And on the day Lanus goes to the temple, I will escape, or I will do anything. Pretended to be dead and escaped. He probably won't bother to confirm if the Empress is really dead, right? He killed the Empress just to have an excuse to take the maiden as his concubine. And if I didn't know if there was an Empress at first, I wouldn't have done such thing. Ah, wait a moment. What is it? What is this? I got an idea. It might be easier than I thought. It seems like things are falling into place more smoothly than I worried. Ah, I knew it. I worried for nothing. But that's not true. The Emperor was already standing in front of her. Empress? She's shocked and say, "What?" He say, "How long will you keep me hanging like this, pretending I'm not to notch my extents? Are you ignoring me?" She was just in shock and saying, "This is bad. This is bad. I already decided to leave as I'm I the, ah, as if I am dead, and in just 1 second. What kind of curses is this?" And that brings us to the end. I know I made a lot of mistakes, so please forgive me. I'm not used to speaking English often. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, my dear friends. So see you next time. Bye guys.